My name is Calvin Fahey. I'm a 24-year veteran of the Army. I joined the Army in 1980 and I retired in late 2003. Served as an infantryman in the 82nd Airborne. Then I spent the rest of my time in Special Forces. I feel more of a planetary citizen than a citizen of the United States. My first experiences in the military, I think, were quite humorous. Being a native New York City boy, I had a real hard time understanding a lot of the dialects that came from around the United States. A joke I like to tell people is, by the time I got to the end of basic training, I could finally understand what the drill sergeants were saying. And what they were saying at that point was, Fahey, how come every time we ever opened our mouths, all you did was push-ups? Because when in doubt, and I had a lot of doubt as to what they were trying to tell me to do, I would just do push-ups. All the rest of it, I'll tell you, hard training. Getting up, being out in frozen rain at 4 o'clock in the morning, doing an extensive amount of physical training, going on runs that I could have never imagined that a human being could do. And that was pretty much in the infantry, and even when I got to the 82nd Airborne, it was a hard lifestyle. Now, the physical injuries are many, and I'm not going to try and skirt the issue. I've crashed in a few helicopters, I've been blown up, parachute accidents. I've broken my ankles. I've torn the cartilage in my knees and had it removed. I have lumbar, thoracic, and cervical spine damage. TBIs, which we're just learning about these days, a traumatic brain injury, comes from getting knocked around, being in close proximity to explosions, hearing damage, rotator cuff damage. It would be nice if I had an x-ray with me to show everybody what the innards of my body looks like. But more damaging are those visuals for most veterans that I know. Just talking about it a moment ago, I felt overwhelmed with a sadness, if you will. I probably didn't realize that from a young age, I had all the seeds of post-traumatic stress disorder and other disassociative ways of being. How it can manifest, I never know sometimes. I don't know what the trigger could be. It could be something subtle, like seeing a little girl kicking a ball. They could throw up an image of some horrifying thing that I had seen, or even words. Somebody could use words about patriotism or nationalism or some type of a racist comment, anything that would go around the category of what I call duality, can really throw me into a spiral that will freeze me up. I will feel the pain of a certain period of my life, the temperature that was there, maybe some of the emotional conflict of the time. It can manifest in a sadness, in a anxiety, or a total freezing me up. So I would call that a flashback or a disassociative experience. I didn't visit back to New York much for the better part of 20 years or so. I did feel separate and different due to my training and my exposure. So then coming into the world where there is no threat around every corner. The biggest threat in the area where I live right now is limited visibility when the fog comes in. But I spent a life of looking at people's shoes to determine where they were coming from. Why is their bag so big? What is that accent? Let me peek in on their conversation, even though it's in a foreign language. So I was really geared up to be alert and be braced for impact, braced for the threat. I don't want to say I have regrets. I do investigate those thoughts. What would it have been like to go to frat parties, and what would it have been like to not be on your fifth marriage? Because I'm on my fifth marriage. What would it have been like to be in that kind of community where I wasn't leaving all the time due to my employment? So I don't think I missed anything. I think I can see it all. I wouldn't trade my experiences. But I don't think I was given an even shake or a clean deal back in the day. Young males think they need some kind of a rite of passage. And they're exposed to all this media and these video games and Hollywood movies and the propaganda that shows the hero. A real man will look into his heart and know that he has all the attributes he will ever need to go through life, his inherent nature. Young women, I think, are being converted by a lot of the same propaganda. In the name of equality, if you will, they're almost being, I think, like tricked into being like men. So they're taking on this patriarchal mask in the name of equality and feminism. And it just isn't working. You can't find equality through being what is some traditional man role, if you will. And, I can be a leader, I can be this, I can be that. Well, be those things. Just don't be it in this broken patriarchal system that no longer serves mankind. I think joining the military service these days is almost a crime against humanity. And I express it cleanly and clearly in that way. We are all one people, and any support whatsoever to some type of a defense agency is complacency and compliancy with any of the horrors that can land upon any other human.